After years of waiting for a new Mario Kart game, we finally got one. Now, it may be hit or miss for some people whether it's better than the previous games in the series, but I think we can all agree it's got some pretty good courses. But which courses are the best? That's what we're going to be talking about today. I've given this game a couple of months before making this video so I could really get a good opinion on these courses and figure out which ones I like the best. Now, this is just my personal opinion, and I would love to know what your favorite tracks are down in the comments below. But without further ado, let's get right into the video. The first track we have today, and my least favorite track, is DK Pass. I've never been a big fan of snowy tracks like this, and that's pretty much all this one is. This track has a ski lodge setting, and I would have loved to see you drive through one of the lodges, or just something more. There just isn't much going on with this one, and the track itself is a bit basic and boring. And sometimes basic tracks are okay as long as they have a cool setting you drive through, but this one just doesn't. I just feel like they could have done more with this track, and that's why I've ranked it as low as I have. Next up, we have Mario Bros. Circuit. Character circuits are usually pretty basic and standard tracks, and they're also usually the first tracks most people play. This is one of those tracks. But that's kind of the problem. It's very similar to other circuits we've had, except this one's a bit on the weaker side. Usually circuit tracks are vibrant and colorful, but this one is the complete opposite. It takes place in a desert, so its colors are mostly browns and tans, which I don't really care for too much. I prefer the more colorful tracks, and this one's just lacking color. The track itself has a fun layout though, but its setting just makes this track very forgettable for me. In 28th place, we have Desert Hills. This track was first introduced in Mario Kart DS, and it's cool to see tracks return, but I would prefer they bring back actual good tracks, which this one is not. I've never been a fan of desert settings, as you may have guessed from my previous track, and this one's no exception. It is literally as the name implies, just deserts and hills. That's literally it. The track itself is just bland and empty. I mean, there are trees which are nice, but it isn't enough to make me change my mind about this track. So again, another track that's just very forgettable. Next we have Crown City. The track itself looks pretty cool with the big open city, but this map just reminds me so much of a tour track, and I don't like most of the tour tracks. Especially since the vast majority of them take place in the city. They all end up just blending together to me. Whenever I see a track like this, I'm like, oh look, it's another city. But don't get me wrong, some of them are good. Some add unique things that make them interesting and stand out. But this one just doesn't. It's literally just a city. Another gripe I have with it is the layout of the track itself. It can be a bit confusing in the early parts, and no matter how many times I play through it, I find myself going the wrong way. Although that could just be a skill issue, I still get a bit annoyed. Overall, it's a decent track, it just isn't anything special. In 26th place, we have Whistle Stop Summit. This track is an alright track, but again, it takes place in the desert, which is not my favorite. Or at least it's kind of deserty. You really can't tell with all the train tracks. But they make it interesting by adding the trains around the track. It gives this track a bit more personality. The layout itself isn't bad, but what makes it a bit better is all the rails you can grind on. It makes the track a bit more exciting and fun to get around. But even with all the rails, that doesn't stop the track from being a bit simple. Overall, this track isn't that bad, it just isn't one I prefer to play on. In 25th place, we have Salty Speedway. This course takes place in a location that kind of resembles Italy. It has you mostly driving through canals and hardly any of the track is on land, making the course feel a bit unique. While it does still remind me a bit of a tour course, which I'm not a big fan of, there is enough here to make it stand out. My only problem with it is the later half of the lap being just a big open water area. Getting through that part can be a bit boring because there isn't much going on. But the scenery kind of makes up for it, especially the plane that rides past once you're close to finishing the lap. It's definitely an aesthetically good looking map. I just feel like it's lacking a little bit. They definitely could have done a little bit more with the later half of the track to make it a bit better. But overall, it's a pretty decent track, one that I wouldn't mind playing multiple times. Next, we have Mario Circuit, and this track is a reimagining of the very first track in Mario Kart, that being Mario Circuit from Mario Kart on the Super Nintendo. So this one does get some nostalgia points, But this track is just your standard track that looks like any go-kart track, and you've also got the return of the colored walls from the Super Nintendo games, which is pretty cool. But the reason this one isn't any higher is because that's about it. There isn't nothing special about this course, but for this one I think it's fine because it's a remake of an old course. So while there might not be much great about it, there's nothing wrong with it either, just your standard track. Next we have Peach Stadium. This track is cool and it feels way different from other Peach courses we've had throughout the years like Peach Gardens and Peach Beach. But this track doesn't really do it for me. It kinda has a Mario Kart 8 vibe to it with the way the track kinda goes up at a certain point, and it seems like it will be perfect for the anti-gravity wheels, but that doesn't exist in this game, so it kinda just seems out of place. Also, it kinda feels a bit like a circuit track in a way. It's just a basic track that goes through and around Peach's castle. It can be cool when you're riding around the outside of the castle though, but that's about all I can say about this course. It's just alright. In 22nd place we have Dry Bones Burnout. Let me start by saying this track is super cool looking. I love the aesthetic and the Day of the Dead theme. And riding through the Dry Bones skull's eye sockets and seeing its bones all around is super cool. But my biggest problem with this course, and the reason it isn't higher than it is because of its layout. The track feels very narrow at times, and even when drifting I find myself going off the track or running into something. And again, this could just be a skill issue and I suck at this game, but it's the only track that I have that problem with. Which is a shame because it's one of my favorite tracks aesthetically. I just never really won a race on it. Next we have Shy Guy Bazaar, which is a course brought over from Mario Kart 7. Now, like I previously mentioned before, I'm not a fan of desert tracks, but I actually really like this one. My biggest problem with desert tracks is it's usually lacking any color, and this one is the same. That is, until you enter the Bazaar part of this track. Then it's full of color and super fun to ride through. Not only that, there are quite a few spots to do wall jumps, and I just find it fun driving through this part. And luckily, it's the majority of this track. Only about a fourth of this course takes place outside of the Bazaar, and most of it is spent driving up to it. And I gotta say, seeing the Bazaar in the distance get bigger as you approach it is super cool. I don't have much bad to say about this course, except I do wish it was a bit longer, because it does feel pretty short, and that may just be because I'm having so much fun with it, which isn't a bad thing. So overall, a pretty good track, and it's only up from here. Breaking into the top 20, we have Toad's Factory. This course was originally in Mario Kart Wii, and it makes its return here. And at first it seems pretty similar to the original with the moving floors and conveyor belts, but near the end there are some new places where you can grind on, which adds a little bit of newness. This is definitely a course I wasn't too fond of at first, but over time it's grown on me quite a bit. Especially the music that plays here. It gets me amped up and ready to win the race. So this is a pretty good course, and I don't really have any complaints about it. We're at the point now where all the courses are really good, it's just some are even better than others. And if you're enjoying this video up to this point, consider subscribing. I do a lot of other ranking videos as well if you're interested in checking those out. In 19th place we have DK Spaceport, the better of the two DK tracks. I remember seeing the first trailer for Mario Kart World and seeing this course for the first time, and I couldn't wait to play it. And let me just say, I was not disappointed. This course is a bit slow at first, but the closer you get to the end, the more exciting it gets. About halfway through, it feels like you're in the original Donkey Kong game. You gotta make your way to the top while avoiding barrels, and there's a bunch of wall jumping sections and rail grinding sections here too, so it really utilizes all the features new to this game. And once you've nearly reached the top, you got a robotic Donkey Kong throwing barrels at you. It's really cool. My only complaint with this track is it starts out kinda slow, and I do feel it is a bit on the longer side, which is fine, but if they shortened it at the start, I feel like it would have been way better. But whenever I think Mario Kart World, this will be the first track that comes to mind. Well, this and a few others. In 18th place we have Peach Beach, which is another returning course, this time from Mario Kart Double Dash. I was always pretty fond of this place in Double Dash. It wasn't my favorite, but it definitely wasn't bad. But I was not expecting the changes they made to it. It actually makes me like this track even more. After the first lap, you go a whole new path and it feels like a completely new track. It was super cool seeing the new areas here that we couldn't see in the original version. It also adds more variety too, like for example, we now have a gliding section where we're gliding between buildings, as well as a section where we're in the water. They've really made an already good track just even better. Next up, we have Wario Stadium, a track returning from Mario 64, and arguably one of the worst tracks in that game. Since then, it's been in many other games as well, but here it's a lot of fun. It feels like every turn there's something waiting for you, whether it be heals or places to wall jump. It gives me Excitebike vibes from Mario Kart 8 Deluxe a little bit. It's super fast paced and I really enjoy playing through it. The setting's not bad too. For some reason, it also kind of reminds me of Borderlands. But overall, a pretty solid course that's a lot of fun to play through. In 16th place, we have Wario's Galleon, which is pretty much Wario's Shipyard from Mario Kart 7. I love this track. I love the spooky vibe and the shipyard setting, but over time this course has gotten lower on my list. The reason for that is I feel like it's lacking something. Like, there are a few parts of this track that just feel kind of empty. Like, you have the spooky anchor that swings back and forth, and I would have loved to have seen more stuff like that, but it just wasn't there. Which sucks, because this place has one of the best atmospheres in the game. As for the track itself, it's super fun to ride through. I love doing tricks off the wave and stuff. It's a pretty fun track that I feel it could have been so much better, but that still isn't stopping it from being an already great track. I just feel like it had so much potential. We're at the top half of the tracks now, and these are the really good tracks that are the best of the best. And in 15th place, we have Moo Moo Meadows. This course was originally in Mario Kart Wii, and it was brought back in Mario Kart 8, so this is technically the third game in a row that we've gotten this course. And it's great. It's the perfect example of a great basic course. This track takes place on solid ground, so there's nothing crazy happening, but you've got hills and stuff you can do tricks on, you've got obstacles to avoid like the cows and the moles, and its setting is bright and vibrant. It has nothing wrong with it, and it's a lot of fun to race on, especially now that we have a cow as a playable character. There's a reason why this course has been in 3 games in a row, and that's just because it's so good. Next up, we have Cheep Cheep Falls. This course is awesome, from the beautiful setting to the fast-paced races. This course has you going up hills surrounded by what looks to be Chinese architecture and colorful fall trees. And then you go down the falls and everything goes super fast. It's one of the more exhilarating tracks, but it is quite short, which I think is fine for this one. It just makes me want to play it over and over again. I love the chaos that can happen on this track too. Once everyone's going down the falls and you've got items going everywhere, it can be absolute chaos. But with all that chaos, some people might find it frustrating. It just depends on who you ask. But me personally, I like the chaos. So overall, it's a pretty standout course. In 13th place, we have Dandelion Depths, and unlike the chaotic last course, this one is the complete opposite. There isn't much crazy stuff going on, not many places to do tricks or wall jumps, but it's kind of relaxing, which I like. Not every track has to be over the top crazy to be good. This one is just fun to ride through and look at the incredible scenery. Especially the cave section of this course. This is where this one shines. The caves look insane and I always find myself paying more attention to them instead of the track itself. It almost feels like I'm on a Disney ride or something. And that brings me to my one complaint. I just wish the cave sections lasted longer. You get through it pretty quickly, which is a shame because I feel like it's the highlight of this track. But overall, this place is super relaxing and I enjoy my time racing here. Next up, we have Choco Mountain, and I have a confession to make. I didn't realize this track was Choco Mountain until like my 10th time playing through it. I never paid attention to the name, and as I was riding it, I kept thinking, man, this feels familiar. And when I finally realized it was Choco Mountain, my mind was blown. Choco Mountain is a track we've had in a few other games, including Mario Kart 8 Deluxe's Booster Course Pass, and it's really iconic. But they really went crazy with it here. They gave it a complete overhaul. Instead of just being a mountain, it kind of has a stadium feel to it now. And I love the things that shoot chocolate around the track. You've also got some new obstacles as well, the charging chucks that will run back and forth. Even though this track is way different than the original, it still has the familiar feel to it. I've always been a big fan of Choco Mountain and I really like this new version. Maybe not as much as the original because that is a top tier track, but it's close. In 11th place, we have Faraway Oasis. This track is incredible and has a lot of variety. It takes place in what looks to be a savanna, but there's a wide variety of locations you go through. One of my favorite being the little waterfall section that feels like a smaller version of Yoshi Falls from Mario Kart DS. I also really like the area leading up to that part where you have all kinds of animals close by watching you race. At times it feels like I'm racing through a zoo, which makes the course feel super unique. Another thing I like about this track is the music. I haven't really talked about the music much in this game, but I love the track that plays here. My only complaint is I wish the animals were around the course more, like make them obstacles or something. But it's just a minor complaint that doesn't really bring down how I feel about this track. It's still really good. Breaking into the top 10, we have Acorn Heights. This course takes place in a forest full of big trees and leaves. It kind of feels like you've shrunken down, and in a way it reminds me of where the Picori live in Minish Cap. I love how there's even little forest houses here as well. I've just always loved foresty areas in video games, and this place is a really good one. It also gives a maple treeway vibe as well, except it looks more like spring instead of fall. This course is also just really fun. You've got all the oversized leaves you can do tricks on, and you can grind on the flower stem like it's a rail. This course just does everything so well, and it's a great addition to this game. In 9th place, we have Bowser's Castle, and as someone who's never really cared for many of the Bowser castles, this one's awesome. It's super fast paced and action packed. There are several places for you to do tricks and rail grind, and it also has some crazy shortcuts as well. But not only is it fun to play on, it also looks incredible. My favorite part is when you get shot up the lava cyclone thing and it slowly transitions into electrical thunderclouds. That part is probably one of the coolest things in this game. And right after that, you drive under Bowser's mouth. Like, how much cooler can this track get? This course just has so much cool stuff to it, and I just really like it. In 8th place, we have Great Question Block Ruins. This is another brand new track to this game that is just incredible. It takes place in a destroyed temple that's scattered around the sky, and it kind of reminds me a bit of something you would see in Tears of the Kingdom because of that. This is another track that's just super fun to play on, and it utilizes all of Mario Kart World's new features. And it's also got some crazy shortcuts as well. Some that I'm not able to pull off because I suck, but it's cool that they're still there. Driving through the temple and jumping across the clouds is just a blast, and especially before you finish a lap and you're flying towards the finish line, it's just so fun. This all really makes this track a top contender for me. Next, we have Sky High Sunday, which is a returning course from Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and Tour. This was one of my favorite courses in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and I was ecstatic to see it return. Honestly, it kind of feels like a map that was made for this game, but they put it in 8 Deluxe and Tour last minute. Because there are so many wall jumping sections and rail grinding, it just feels like it was made for this game, which makes it super fun to play through. But where this track shines to me is its theme, aesthetic, and overall atmosphere. I mean, I feel like I've been transported into Candyland. Everything looks so colorful and I want to eat it, and I don't even like ice cream. I just love colorful tracks, and this is probably the most colorful track in this game, which is why to me it's a top tier course. In 6th place, we have Starview Peak. This is one I don't see a lot of people talking about, which I don't really understand why, because I love this course. It definitely feels the most underrated in this game. Yeah, it's a bit simple in terms of its layout, but it's still a lot of fun to play through. But my favorite part about this track is just the way it looks. It takes place in an icy location that has a space vibe to it. I never really knew combining space and ice would turn out so well, but here we are. You've also got some colorful Lumas hanging around too, watching you race. It would have been cool though to see one of them turn into a star for you to blast out of. That would have made this a top 3 track for sure. But my favorite part is when you're driving through the water stream. Here you can really take in just how incredible this track looks. Plus, it also has a Mario Galaxy vibe, which is my favorite 3D Mario game, so that gives it bonus points too. But overall, a really stellar course that I hope to see return in the future Mario Kart games. We're breaking into the top 5 now. These remaining tracks are top tier tracks, and it was hard to narrow it down. But in 5th place, we have Dino Dino Jungle. It has dinosaurs. That's literally all you need to know. But seriously, this track is great. It's a track we got in Mario Kart Double Dash, and here it's somehow even better. It also adds new dinosaurs, some of them being obstacles in your path, and some we can even drive on, which is crazy, and I love it. This was my complaint with Faraway Oasis, which is a similar track if you replaced animals with dinosaurs. I mentioned the lack of animals on the track itself, but here that just isn't the case. The dinosaurs are all over the track. This place is just amazing, and I'm glad it returned for this game. In 4th place, we have Koopa Troopa Beach. Now, this may be a hot take, because it isn't nothing too crazy. But this one is a personal one for me. I love small tracks like Baby Park and Yoshi Falls, and this course is this game's small track. It takes place on a beach and it's pretty much just a small circle. You even have 5 laps and it still gets finished quicker than other tracks. Now I know probably most people will disagree with this placement, but don't judge me. I love small maps and this one's great. In third place, earning the bronze medal, is Airship Fortress. This is a track that was originally from the DS Mario Kart game, and here it got quite the glow up. Growing up, it was my favorite track of all time. I absolutely loved everything about this track. I love the setting because it reminds me of the airships from Super Mario Bros. 3, which is my favorite 2D Mario game. And not only that, there's just so much stuff to love about this track. You've got the bullet bills coming at you at the start, you got the moles you need to avoid, you get shot out of a cannon, and my favorite part, which is the tower that you're able to drift all the way down. No matter how many times I play this course, it never gets old, and it'll always be one of my favorites. With that being said though, this game introduced 2 brand new tracks that actually surpassed it. These next 2 tracks to me are flawless, and are kind of interchangeable, but number 2 is Boo Cinema. It is, as the name implies, peak cinema. Yeah, that joke's probably been done before, and it wouldn't surprise me because the course is literally perfect. If there's 2 things I love, it's spooky stuff and movies, and this track is both of those things. It has you driving through a haunted movie theater, which is already cool, but then you jump through the movie screen and you're in the movie, and there's an old movie filter over top of you. It's just so cool and creative. Not only that, the track you're driving on is a movie film strip, which is also really cool. This is when I knew this place was special. It has the best atmosphere in the game, hands down. But not only does this place look incredible, it's also fun to play on too. They've really put a lot of creativity into making this course, and it's one I'll never forget. At last, we've made it to number 1. If you've made it this far in the video, give it a thumbs up so more people can see it. That would mean a lot to me. But the number 1 track and my personal favorite in Mario Kart World is Rainbow Road. Honestly, I can't believe I would ever rank a Rainbow Road this high. There's been a unique Rainbow Road in nearly every Mario Kart game, and I gotta admit, I'm pretty fatigued of seeing it. But dude, they went crazy with this Rainbow Road. This one has 4 laps, and each lap is absolutely stunning. Lap 1 is pretty standard, but then lap 2 has you going through a stream of water in the sky, surrounded by blue crystals, and you've got shooting stars in the background. And then lap 3 literally has you going into space, and you drive through a space station. Seeing the skies transition from sky to space is mesmerizing. Then lap 4 has you shooting back down to Earth onto Rainbow Road once more, finally reaching the finish line. You also have a train full of characters you've seen throughout the game driving alongside you, which is pretty cool. This track is also super long, like the longest in the entire series, but I never found myself getting bored with it. Each section just feels like a whole new track itself. Honestly, I don't know how they'll ever make a Rainbow Road better than this, but I'm excited to see. If they can one-up this, that would absolutely be crazy. But there you have it, that's my list. What do you think? Let me know what your rankings are in the comments below, or even top 5. But as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.